The Grand Council Hall floated in the center of neutral space, far from any single empire's control. Its walls were made of dark crystal and living metal, shaped by technology older than most civilizations in the galaxy. Thousands of lights hovered in the air, each one marking the presence of a powerful race. This hall had seen wars declared and ended. It had seen stars claimed and worlds erased. Yet on this day, the atmosphere felt heavier than usual. At the center of the chamber stood the elders. They were not tall or loud. They did not wear shining armor or symbols of power. Their strength came from time itself. Each elder had lived through ages that others only read about in archives. They had watched galaxies rise, burn, and fade into silence. When the elders spoke, history listened. The session was called because of humanity. A younger race, still new by galactic standards. Humans had appeared on the wider stage only a few centuries ago. Their technology was advancing fast, but many still saw them as reckless and emotional. They argued too much. They felt too deeply. To many in the council, humans were interesting, but not dangerous. The elders did not share that view. One of them stepped forward. Its voice was calm, almost soft, yet it carried across the hall without effort. "Do not provoke humanity," the elder said. "You stand at the edge of a mistake you will not survive." A low murmur spread through the council. Some delegates exchanged amused glances. Others leaned back in their seats, clearly unimpressed. An ambassador from a powerful empire rose to speak. His species had conquered dozens of systems and crushed many rebellions. "Elders," he said politely, though his tone carried confidence. "We respect your age. But humans are fragmented. They fight among themselves. Their fleets are small. Their colonies are weak. They are not a threat to galactic order." Several representatives nodded in agreement. The elder did not raise its voice. It did not argue. "You mistake noise for weakness," the elder replied. "You mistake restraint for fear." Another council member laughed openly. "They cannot even agree among themselves," she said. "How could they ever stand against the combined strength of this council?" The elder's eyes, ancient and unreadable, moved across the chamber. "We have seen this before," the elder said. "A species that argues loudly in peace but moves as one in war. A species that does not seek conquest, but responds to cruelty with resolve. Humanity does not forget. Humanity does not forgive easily." Still, the council remained unconvinced. Behind closed doors, politics mattered more than caution. Some empires wanted human trade routes. Others wanted their frontier worlds. A few simply wanted to test human limits. The elder's warning was filed away, noted, and quietly ignored. Far from the council hall, humanity was watching. On a blue-green world orbiting a calm yellow star, a human research station monitored deep space transmissions. Analysts detected the council meeting, the tone, the dismissive responses. The message reached Earth within hours. Human leaders did not panic. They did not protest loudly. There were no angry speeches sent back to the council. Instead, quiet meetings were held. Admirals, scientists, and diplomats gathered in secure rooms. Old protocols were reviewed. Projects once considered unnecessary were reopened. Shipyards that had slowed production received new orders. Defensive systems were tested and upgraded. Humanity did not rush. They prepared. On the outer edge of human-controlled space, small colonies continued their daily lives, unaware of the discussions happening light years away. Children went to school. Farmers worked alien soil. Miners dug deep into asteroids. To them, the galaxy still felt distant and vast. The elders knew this peace would not last. In the council hall, the final words of the session were recorded. The elder spoke once more, this time not as a warning, but as a statement. "When humanity is pushed," the elder said, they do not ask who is stronger. They ask who will stand with them. And if the answer is no one, they stand alone. The council dismissed the session shortly after. Trade resumed. Fleets moved. Plans were made without human consent. As the hall emptied, one junior delegate lingered. He looked back at the elders, unease settling in his chest. "Do you truly believe it will be that bad?" he asked quietly. The elder turned its gaze toward him. "It always is," the elder replied. Beyond the council hall, stars burned in silence. And somewhere in the darkness, humanity finished its preparations, unseen and underestimated, waiting for a line they hoped would never be crossed. The first strike did not come as a declaration of war. It came as a correction. That was the word the Valorex Dominion used when their fleet entered the Helios Reach, a quiet region near the edge of human space. To them, the human colonies there were poorly defended and politically unimportant. The Dominion believed a small show of force would remind humanity of its place in the galactic order. The Elder's warning echoed in no one's mind. The Dominion fleet arrived without warning. Massive ships blocked the local star, cutting off light and long-range communication. Defense satellites were destroyed in minutes. Human patrol craft tried to respond, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. On the surface of Helios 7, the attack was sudden and terrifying. Cities lost power. Emergency sirens screamed through the streets. Civilians ran for shelters that had never been tested for real war. The colony had been built for research and trade, not defense. No one there believed they would ever be a target. The Dominion commander issued a single broadcast. "This system is now under Dominion authority. Resistance will be punished." Then the bombardment began. Human military doctrine avoided civilian loss whenever possible. The Dominion did not share that belief. Orbital strikes targeted infrastructure, not with precision, but with indifference. Hospitals collapsed. Water systems failed. Fires spread across residential zones. In less than an hour, Helios 7 was broken. A distress signal escaped just before the communication grid went dark. It was weak and fragmented, but it reached human space. On Earth, the signal played in silence inside a secure command chamber. The images were unclear, but the sounds were enough. Screaming. Explosions. A child crying for someone who did not answer. No one spoke when the recording ended. The human commander in the room, Admiral Rhea Solis, stood slowly. She did not shout. She did not show anger. She simply said, "Confirm casualties." The answer came quickly. Too many. The Galactic Council released a short statement hours later. They called the incident an isolated enforcement action. They urged humanity to remain calm and avoid escalation. There was no mention of civilian deaths. No condemnation. No consequences. Human diplomats protested. They were ignored. Within human space, something changed. The public was not shown the full footage, but they knew enough. Memorial lights appeared in cities across Earth and its colonies. Ships lowered flags. Schools paused lessons to honor the dead of Helios 7. Anger existed, but it was controlled. Humanity had learned long ago that uncontrolled anger led to mistakes. In a deep facility beneath the surface of Mars, sealed orders were unlocked. Projects that had been debated for decades were activated without discussion. Engineers and officers worked side by side, their movements calm and precise. This was not panic. This was purpose. Admiral Solis addressed a small group of senior commanders. "We will not strike in rage," she said. "We will strike when it matters." A junior officer asked the question many were thinking. What if the council intervenes? Solis shook her head. They already chose not to. Far across the galaxy, the elders watched events unfold through ancient sensors and quiet observation posts. They saw the ruins of Helios 7. They saw the council's silence. And they knew the final chance for peace had passed. One elder closed its eyes. The line has been crossed, it said. Back in Dominion space, celebrations were brief. The Valorex leadership believed humanity would protest, threaten, and eventually comply. Their analysts reported increased human ship movement, but dismissed it as defensive repositioning. They did not see the deeper pattern. Human fleets did not rush toward the border. Instead, they disappeared. Long-range scans found nothing. No buildup. No grand formations. To the Dominion, this was proof of fear. In reality, humanity had stopped asking for permission. In the quiet of deep space, human warships moved without lights or broadcasts. Crews spoke little. Orders were short and clear. Every ship knew its role. No speeches were made. No dramatic declaration sent. Only one internal message was shared across the fleet. Objective confirmed. Civilian protection priority. End the threat. As the last ship slipped into dark space, Admiral Solis watched the tactical display fade to black. "This is not revenge," she said softly. "This is response." And across the galaxy, the powers that had laughed at the Elder's warning continued their routines, unaware that humanity had just taken its first true step toward devastation. The first sign that something was wrong did not come from an explosion or a warning signal. It came from silence. Along the outer borders of the Valorex Dominion, listening stations began to fail one by one. Not destroyed. Not damaged. They simply stopped reporting. Automated status pings vanished. Backup systems returned nothing but empty space. Dominion analysts blamed technical faults. Solar interference. Old equipment. Nothing worth alerting command. They were wrong. Human ships had arrived days earlier, drifting beyond normal detection range. Their hulls absorbed sensor waves instead of reflecting them. Their drives left no trails. They did not rush. They waited, mapped, and learned. Every target was chosen carefully. When the first human strike came, it lasted less than 90 seconds. A Dominion military relay station vanished in a controlled flash of light. No debris field. No radiation spike. Just absence. The network that connected 3 battle fleets went dark at once. Confusion spread. Dominion commanders issued overlapping orders. Fleets tried to regroup, but their communication channels collapsed. Navigation beacons stopped responding. Defense grids failed to activate. Still, no enemy ships were visible. Then the message arrived. It appeared simultaneously on every remaining Dominion screen, military and civilian alike. The transmission was clear, calm, and unmistakably human. "This is humanity." No threats followed. No list of demands. Just one sentence. "You were warned." Panic broke where discipline had once ruled. Dominion fleets launched in haste, firing into empty space. Some ships collided as formation protocols failed. Others retreated toward defended worlds, seeking protection behind planetary shields. Humanity allowed this. They did not chase fleeing ships. They did not attack civilian centers. Instead, they targeted command hubs, shipyards, and weapons platforms with terrifying accuracy. A human task force emerged near the Dominion's largest fleet assembly zone. The ships were different from anything the galaxy had seen. No ornate designs. No glowing insignias. Just clean, angular hulls built for function, not display. They did not speak again. They acted. Precision strikes disabled enemy engines without breaching hulls. Boarding drones secured command decks in minutes. Dominion officers found their weapons locked, their systems overridden by codes they did not understand. Resistance collapsed faster than anyone believed possible. Across the galaxy, the Elders watched in grim silence. This is the restraint phase, one elder said. Another replied, they are still being kind. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. Delegates spoke over one another, fear finally breaking through pride. Calls were sent to human diplomats. This time, they were answered. The human representative appeared on the council's central display. She did not raise her voice. You ignored our protests, she said. You ignored the elders. Now you want intervention. A council member shouted, you are destabilizing the galaxy. The human representative met his gaze. No, she said. We are stabilizing it. Within Dominion space, the final human operation began. A massive human fleet appeared at the edge of the Dominion capital system. This time, there was no attempt at stealth. Engines burned bright. Hull lights activated. For the first time, humanity allowed itself to be seen. The sight alone caused surrender signals to flood the system. The Dominion leadership transmitted a desperate request for ceasefire. The response came quickly. Stand down all forces. Power down all weapons. You will not be harmed if you comply. They complied. Human ships held position. Weapons stayed locked. Not a single shot was fired in the capital system. The message was clear. Humanity could destroy them. But chose not to. As Dominion fleets disarmed, news spread across the galaxy. The Elder's warning replayed in countless minds, now heavy with regret. Humanity had responded, not with chaos, but with control. And for the first time in centuries, the galaxy understood a terrible truth. The most dangerous species was not the one that threatened destruction. It was the one that did not need to. The Dominion did not fall in fire. It fell in silence. Its fleets were intact but powerless. Its command structure remained, yet every decision now required human approval. No cities burned. No worlds were taken. The lack of destruction unsettled the galaxy more than any massacre could have. This was not conquest. It was judgment. Human representatives entered the Dominion capital without escorts of intimidation. They walked through halls once filled with arrogance and found only fear. The Dominion leaders waited, expecting demands for territory, resources, or tribute. None came. The lead human envoy spoke plainly. You will rebuild what you destroyed, she said. You will compensate the families of Helios 7. You will open your archives and remove weapons aimed at civilian space. A Dominion lord trembled. And if we refuse? The envoy did not threaten him. You already tried that, she replied. Across the galaxy, the Galactic Council watched the proceedings live. No edits. No delay. Worlds that had once laughed at the elders now sat in silence. One council member finally asked the question no one wanted to hear. Why not finish them? The answer came not from humanity, but from the elders. Because this is how humans win, an elder said. They do not erase lessons. They make them unforgettable. Humanity withdrew its fleets slowly. Not in retreat, but in confidence. Border systems were reinforced, not expanded. Colonies rebuilt with quiet determination. Memorials rose on Helios 7, not as symbols of hatred, but as reminders. Children visited those memorials and learned what restraint had cost. Within the Dominion, change came quickly. Old commanders were removed. New laws limited military reach. For the first time in their history, they feared the result of their own cruelty. The Galactic Council issued new doctrines within weeks. No species would be provoked without consequence. No civilian world would be targeted without united response. Humanity was placed among the highest deterrent powers, not because of numbers, but because of trust in their discipline. One elder addressed the council in the final session. We warned you, it said. You did not listen. Remember this moment. The hall recorded those words, this time without laughter. Far from the council chambers, on Earth, Admiral Rhea Solis stood before a simple monument bearing the names of Helios 7's dead. She placed her hand against the cold stone. "We answered," she said softly. "And we stopped." Humanity returned to peace, but the galaxy did not return to ignorance. Trade routes shifted. Border disputes faded. Threats were reconsidered. Every rising power studied human history now, not for technology, but for behavior. The lesson spread quietly from world to world. Do not mistake silence for weakness. Do not test patience for fear. And never ignore a human warning. The elders withdrew from active council duty soon after. Their work was done. The galaxy had learned, as it always did, too late but thoroughly. And somewhere beyond the known stars, humanity continued to build, explore, and hope that they would never again need to remind the universe of what happens when restraint finally ends.